All right. So I just wanted to start out today by just talking about the fact that how hard it is to believe that this is the final reading in a series that's been part of our lives for 12 years. And what began as an idea in Susanna's mind became a tradition for all of us, a place where voices were heard and poems were shared and people came together around the power of words, which isn't something that everybody in the world cares about like we do. The legacy of this series, I think, is not only in the poems that were spoken here and the videos that are going to live on via our YouTube channel, but also in the writers themselves who have been encouraged to keep their voices out there and to keep writing. Susanna has given poets a platform and audiences a great listening experience every month. And it's been a monthly reminder that poetry is something we do together, not just something we read and write alone. So thank you, Susanna, for imagining this series and for rolling up your sleeves and making it happen for 12 long years. And I would like everyone to unmute if you would and join me in a round of applause for Susanna for this series.
Absolutely. Congratulations. I mean, really
Thanks
amazing.
very
Thank
much.
you, Susanna. You've done a great job for so long.
Absolutely.
Thank
We
you.
absolutely appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, everybody.
Absolutely.
But said it, Judy, or did you want to say more nice things about me? You're good? Okay. You know, in 2014, when I was hoping to create a community of like-minded people, Judy and Mary Galvin, Ray Newbert, Charles Scheitler, Lenny, Patricia Whiting, Stacy were the core poets who would come to the in-person readings.
And Michael.
Yes, and Michael. Michael's on my list, Michael. And I wanted to say that I want to say something about Patricia, Ray, Charles, and Mary, who are no longer with us, except in spirit, and how Mary was a professor at Palm Beach State College, and her students loved her. And she encouraged her students to go on and get MFAs, and some of them, I think, are flourishing as poets. And that's part of Mary's legacy. So, Mary was a big part of our community, our poetry community. Patricia Whiting used to host salons at her home. And it wasn't just poetry that we talked about. We talked about music and movies and books. And it was a very, very rich experience. And that's where I got to know Stacy, Michael, Lenny, and Ray and Charles. Ray Newbert. Oh, and I want to say about Patricia Whiting, she was a fabulous, talented painter as well as a talented poet. And so it was a real pleasure seeing those two things in her home. We would see these wonderful paintings, of which I have a couple, luckily. And so Patricia was a big part of the cultural scene here in West Palm Beach. Ray Newbert was an artist, and oh yeah, there's one of Patricia's paintings right there. Yeah, thank you, Stacy. Ray Newbert was a poet and an artist, and just as spicy as he could possibly be. And you could always count on Ray to just tell you exactly what he thought at any given time. So he was a lot of fun, and he too is missed. And then I come to Charles, who was my soulmate. I loved Charles, and Charles would come to a reading where I was reading, and he would yell from the audience, Susanna, we love you. And I'd be like, oh, Charles. So Charles was a trip and dearly, dearly loved by all of us. And he used to host a reading at, I want to say it was O'Shea's, down in West Palm Beach. And he did that for a long, long time. And that's where I first met him. So that was in the 90s. So there's a long history of people, creating space for poetry here in West Palm Beach. And there's a new venture. And I'm afraid I don't know the lady's name, but I know that she is having David and Lenny read there. And I know that Michael read at this new, it's a gallery, and I think wine is served, so you might all want to just come on down. Um, so yeah, it's a rich cultural environment here, and it's been a real pleasure to be a part of that. So I'm going to stop my speech, but I want to say that I did very sketchy math about how many readings and how many poets and how many open mics. And when I tell you it was sketchy, Judy had to say to me, does that sound right? Because it was in the thousands. Well, the decimal point had kind of shifted on me, and so I got it wrong. So here's what it is, allegedly. There were 121 readings, and we since 2014, with featured poets. So 242 featured slots, and then 1,210 open mic reading. So a lot of readings, a lot of poetry, and it's been a great pleasure. So with that, we will move on and start our reading for today. For those of you who are meeting us for the first time, which is none of you, I want to, I need to say this about Judy. This would not be happening the way it is if Judy hadn't joined in, we think it was 2018. So I went to Judy, and it was just before things sort of blew up, and we had poets reaching out from all over the state asking if they could read for us. And I asked Judy if she would join me and help me with this. And she is the techno wizard that is responsible for all of the Facebook announcements, all of the graphics, all of the everything. And so it wouldn't be what it is today if Judy hadn't been. So please unmute, and let's give Judy a round of applause, because Judy really classed up the joint.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay, the last thing I'm going to say is these are the places, and I may be missing a few, but these are the places that we've had people read from: Texas, South Africa, England, North Carolina, South Carolina, New York, New Mexico, Hawaii, Portugal, California, and Ohio. We may have missed a state or two in there, but it's had a lovely, lovely life. So with that, and I would just say that I want to thank you all for supporting us and to coming regularly. It's been lovely to see your faces month after month. So thank you very much. All right, with that, we will move on to our first featured poet. And we met Melissa through a Zoom reading here. That's how we met, not in person, but she's from South Carolina. Melissa A. Chappell is a poet from Pomeria, South Carolina. She is an ordained Lutheran pastor and church musician. Her work has been published in the Emerson Review, the Orchards Poetry Journal, and Amethyst Literary Magazine, among others. She was recently longlisted for the Poetry Lighthouse Summer 2026 Award. Her villanelle, The Shunned House, will be included in an anthology and archived in the National Poetry Institute in London. And with that, we give you Melissa.
Thank you. Before I begin reading, a few words of farewell and gratitude. First, I thank Judy and Susanna for inviting me to read today. And not only that, but I thank you for always holding a spot for me for Sunday's readings. I'm so thankful for this venue and the gift it has been to so many poets over the years. Thank you to Susanna and Judy for your dedication to the performance poets of the Palm Beaches. For me personally, I have been enriched by the talents of diverse poets over the years, and for this I'm grateful. And for this ending, I'm deeply saddened. Yet even in our parting, we can remember the community born here and carry it with us as we follow our separate paths. Godspeed.
Thank you, Melissa. Go ahead.
Thank you. As before, on the pandemic, Winter is the right time for a virus, I suppose, for in its hollow, soundless days we are twining helices, warm in hope's deep hold, where mammal dreams stir and waken to a country of earth-breaking marigolds, forsaking the days that take away our breath, the masks of pretense and vagaries that ride snowy plumed breezes. On the hearthstone let despair burn brittle as tinder in the ash. Therefore, with perseverance and a will to fight until the jessamine overtakes our graves, and the monarch leaves its branch no more, a new fire shall burn in winter, and in its rising light we shall see one another face to face as before. Nights for my father, 1939 to 2009. Nights were the nicotine light of the stove, my father's ashing Marlborough losing time, the made in China teapot, half awake, grousing upon the eye. The sun had dwelled in his skin, sienna, his trembling hands, now old, mapped by sea blue veins. Nights were waiting, brewing thoughts, as the Folgers single bag steeped in favored mugs. Nights were no conversation, only silence burning away. The days, the weeks, the months. My father will take one more drag of his Marlboro, one smoke ring metastasizing into 1,000 more. Good night, darling. A kiss on the head. Nights, the dimming light, the coming loss. The dogwood is past its season. One night will awaken me to find the kitchen dark, the teapot silenced, no conversation, only silent prayers, plumes of incense rising to the outer light. Nights are for mourning, ashen grief never burning, burning away, only changing shapes in the clandestine light. Settle the earth. What scenes do I behold where the earth, a bride yet again, is tilled and dark seed is cast, rising, falling, with shouts of Hosanna from the furrowed morning, fields of ardent light, maiden, her skirts of rose fallen sash, spread for plow and piercing blade, in blood-rich earth, life riven and life wrought. A brother catches his brother's heel in the writhing womb, cresting heels, their ancient quarrels mended, a seam of cows exulting, stream by stream, threading through ever-going fields, swallows wheeling, carrying aloft the barns in thinning light. By this new river, set the stone firm, plant a tree for figs. What has been given us is enough to settle the earth. Not in April shall I return. The Phoebe has not returned to the place of her resolve, the settlement of a new spring, the straw nest disintegrating, its syntax collapsing beneath the eave. She may come in April. She will, orienteering by the constellary parlance of heroes, gods, and goddesses, such bright expanse in cold rubbed sky. The starry pantheon, small now, in her nest, the night pooling in a fraying straw floor, wanting, unraveling, a nocturne of navigation, not yet betrayed. My old coat, yearnings beyond comprehension for someone who cares, who can rend and mend the lining of the aging barn coat, exposed in these troubled days when avian songs from my summer passage are lost in old timber and stars without names. Not in April shall I return, and not when the spring of the earth is being settled. The Phoebe may come, she will, with Polaris steady and strong, unforgetting. My father's hand drew trails of arcing light across the night sky. Polaris always, from the brittling cold of our tattering nest. You will never be lost. I cannot see for remembering. Crossing the broad river at Turtle Bridge. So many crossings I have made, and never have you wearied of me or all that I bring. My last breath, the last word I remember, the last song I have sung, the last love that blossomed like bloodroot along my Appalachian sorrow. And my soul is cast down, O Lord, into depths, the rubble of contrition, born of ferocity and grace, waters which order the taking and giving of life. The last word I remember is no word at all, an exhalation lost, floating away in breath missing over this middle realm of river, color uncreated. I shall not encroach the mystery, my parting breath, earth, river, the ongoing sea. This is how I love you. Do you know how I love you? I love you with no farewell, yet with few expectations. I love you from the deep spaces where lie the shimmering whalebones, where burn the ancient mystic fires. I love you as the red fern grows, longing only to graze your skin as you pass. I love you as I am wounded in your forgetting, in your silence, even as we are an impossibility. No chance to me is something worth loving. I love you and live with you in the monochrome memories of beaches and empty streets and dimly lit cafes. My love was rageful when you left me. I lay in the ashes that remained. I burned as a cindered river, but perished not. Do you know how I love you? My love is a broken fragrance that sheds its aroma across the blue true sky, 5,000 miles to perish at your door. This is how I love you. And I shall never, on the ecology of disappearances. And I shall never hear your carol raising up the trees of praise, who yet in green veils of morning sigh, so remembering you, O little warbler, whose voice sinks deep, disappearing into the side, and floats soundless down the river of unanswering sky. Nowhere and everywhere such silence is cacophonous, confounding the bereaved wail of the evening loon, a cry more yearning than the great gray geese in search of home upon mythic fields. And I shall never, with feathered fingers, caress his own cheek, the thievery of taloned years. Yet his absence lies with me in the secret bed, withholding nothing. Undeniable, on a deceased nestling. My slow waking uncurls as I crack the hard starry shell. Pillowy soft, patchwork straw, cover me in mystic sanctuary as I come undreamed by the blue air, the wind, a seed in the sun, beneath her wing, my life to keep. With nascent eyes, I see the stars roosting in the sky as I wait for the fanciful, arcing flights I would accomplish into the breast of night. I am undeniable, yet even the daisies turn away their starless eyes as I am flightless, falling, perishing, the sun stealing away. You are, after Octavio Paz's Salamander. You were my first breath and my final word. The first time there ever was a flowered moon, and the last sun hammered to the writhing sky. You are the sun's ruinous flare and its healing antidote. You are the rain and its bridling clouds. You are a star tacked to the dome and its imploding brilliance. You are the stalk of wheat in the field, the furrow in which it grows and in which it will die. You are the tides of the sea and the brine that embitters my tongue. You are the everything I must release, yet the everything I will hold until one spring day you slip through my fingers, still and silenced. Taproot, you come with the winter tides, when rivers flow slow as a memory, mocking the young birch in the courtyard, its life toiling, subterranean and submitting to the discipline of the Lord. A poverty of touch is the substance of passion, love, suffering, impatient, exhilaration. Its taproot deeper than those who sleep in the earth, waiting in God. Summer is the own of your cheek, a shirt fraying like time between us. Your laugh, an ascent into some Slovak mountain range, where I surrender my breath beneath the evening's tent of lace. And in a corner dark of the bending universe, a star's life is ending in dust, gas, wind, the colliding light. When death comes to our table, after Ana Castillo, when death comes to our table, the distance separating us disappears. The silken sash of rose shall fall upon you, O rider pale, and my passion flows from my thighs, a river of orange blossoms that fall over you. The silken sash, once binding, now unbinding, has freed us to know as we want to be known. When death comes to our table, love's grief is falling upward. In claws of heaven, on that day, at the fringes of last things, when silken ribbons have been spun in full, and the earth has been turned 1,000 times beyond, I shall meet you in claws of heaven. We shall rest shining among such gardens no more forbidden, a kiss exchanging just once for an orange sweet in the whisperings of weft and warp, your name on my breath beneath vaulting skies, a meal shared in this windfall light, our alleluias beginning again. From river to river, the aged light, 100 winters parting, with its many new greetings, shines through the veiled bud of dogwood and serviceberry. On our place, this light shines white, the sun pooling at the bottom of a bucket, tin and singing, the stream from which our mothers drank, and washed from their clothes the blood now flowing from rivers to oceans. One day we may be taken from the stream, from the ferns that waltz to a secret hidden music, from the young tended trails where the Lord takes his ease. All of us in this tide of life, in the ebb and in the flow, must be taken by the hand and led to places we do not wish to go. Yet we are the children of the widower stream. Here the sundog still climbs from banks of roll and rust, ferns and fortitude. See that even the Phoebe has not stayed another spring, and we shall be wrought again, the close of our reckoning washed, blood flowing now from river to river, the deep going sea. A life in hand. My father's daughter remembers the crack of air in the September field, dust gray and rising from the dregs of summer. Among this gathering of men, the daughter who learned the poetry of the young dogwood learned also the language of the forged steel gun, parsing and modifying the disquieted field. Sorrow, trust, belonging, death, the parting warmth of a life in hand, taken, yet by the earth is given again. For generations gathered, the table prepared, the meal rich in praise and thanksgiving, the witness of the child solaced at the breast of the earth. Better than before, after Elizabeth Barrett Browning. In other Carolina twilights, on my parents' front porch swing, I was cradled in wisteria so velvet, intoxicated, raptured. I was 14 summers, and the fallow field spoke to me of winterings and turnings, the underbelly of dark Sheol, the wrestling angels, and the striving God. The honeysuckle grew along the tile porch, stamen so strange, nectared sun melting in my mouth, the end of days. How do I love thee? Asked the poet. Over the wilding field, I uttered her question. How do I love thee? To the honeysuckle at my lips, I whispered, how do I love thee? To the depths of Sheol's stirrings, beneath my toiling gardens, I trembled, how do I love thee? I ask this of you, a man yet nameless, in the oceans and tides that will bring you to me from a world unknown, my beloved, my lover, a mystery veiled in faith. Tonight, a girl no longer, I am many winters, Elizabeth's sonnets bound, leaves faded and rent. I still tremble and remember every way that you felt, sure and rocking and strong like a front porch swing. And every way that you taste are all my days, golden and melting, flesh upon flesh, a kiss for the parting. How do I love you? With my body, I answered 10,000 times. In my death, I will answer better than before. Turtle life, flash of lightning in my window tonight. The backwaters are stilled and suffering in Easter sorrow. My quickened thoughts retreat into a shell, fractured and final. Memory unfurls like thunder, soft, a turtle in a swallow box, struggling to die well. Touch the cool, cracked stone. The dregs of life pool and stir beneath. Lifting this tender word, my beggarly eyes meet his. A flash of knowing at river's edge. Light, finally beckoning light. Thank you.
Melissa, the last two poems, did you want to read those or not?
Um, I can.
If it's
Is
up
there
to
time?
you.
Is there
Yes,
time?
yes, go ahead.
I can read them. It will certainly add interest. Um, um, okay. After making love the first time in his mountain home, when it was over, our breaths were long and deep, the breeze strong enough to bend the birches, filling up the hollows where the bloodroot grows. We were vines twining around some old sycamore by the river, not knowing where one ended and the other began. And a well dug deep, vines climbing stone, and when we rose with strength enough to pull down Polaris, the well flowed over its sides in thanksgiving, its long emptiness being filled, all of its unknowing being known. Resting my head in the hollow of his shoulder, wordless tides pooled softly there, and I cannot say. And the last one, Mother, I climb. These stones remember no primrose vows, only the carriage of winters spilt into that summer of birches, trembling with each rain. You and I, wearing the river only, no servile kiss, the sun uncoiling, blush of pomegranate. You held out your hand, and I climbed. Yes, mother, I climbed into his arms and went with him to his house on the mountain, his stone house where the waxwings sang and seeded the rafters.
Melissa, such gorgeous, gorgeous work. And the chat is open now. I know that there were lots
Thank you.
of comments, icons, memes, whatever those are called, as you were reading. But now people can comment in the chat, and I urge you to read them. I'm sure everyone was blown away as I was. Thank you for reading.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so on to our next featured reader. David Colodney is a poet living in Boynton Beach, Florida. He is the author of Gen X Redux, forthcoming this month from Main Street Rag Publishing, and the chapbook Mimeograph, Finishing Line Press 2019. A Best of the Net and 4-time Pushcart nominee, his work has appeared in multiple journals. David currently serves as an associate editor of South Florida Poetry Journal and is an ardent supporter of the Liverpool Football Club. If you are looking for him, he can often be found at the Lion and Eagle pub watching Liverpool matches, where some of his best work is written, no doubt. And with that, I give you David.
Thank you, Susanna. And some of my worst work is written there as well. So it's kind of a fine line, you know. First of all, I'd like to thank Melissa for setting the bar so high. And it's like I always, worry about following certain poets, and this is one that I'm worried about. So thank you for that amazing reading. And Susanna and Judy, I mean, for a writer, it's kind of hard to be lost for words, but thank you for everything you've done, not only for the community, but for me, in your constant support of my work. I think this is the 4th or 5th time I've read for the series, and I've appreciated every invitation. I've always looked forward to the email from Susanna inviting me. So thank you so much for everything. I'm going to start. Most of these poems are in my book, which should be out second week of July, actually, as it looks. And I'm going to start with one called, it's actually like the second to last poem in the book. It's called Us in 30 Years. Write me a note in small penmanship swirls on a yellow sticky and leave it on our kitchen table. Tell me you're running errands. List what the fridge offers for lunch or snacks if you're not back in time. Let me pour what's left of morning's coffee and let me sit and stare, short on sky, as I remember the elderly couple toddling past in the Winn-Dixie parking lot earlier, hands fused together, brick and mortar. Will that be us? Let me contemplate their chutzpah, celebrate their jaywalking by shaking in another sugar, milk swirling like the reels of an old projector flickering movies in my mug. Tell me the floating ground circling in my coffee cup means you'll wipe wisps of gray hair off my face as my spotted hands tremble, reaching for you. Tell me you'll be the last thing I see. Called Daylight Saving. I am no longer whole. Atoms and particles weave in and out of my body on a whim born of an amber breeze without destination beyond this empty house. People can survive in pieces if we hollow our insides and sever the noise from memory. What's left of us springs forward without falling back because we can't fall back. So here we wait out the languid drizzle of time, dripping like a slow leak from a rusty faucet, and we wait for something to happen. Actually, as I'm going through this here, I realized that this poem is actually not in my book, but I was putting pages together and it just happened to fit. So it's called Autumnal Equinox. Centrum Silver, Miralax, decaf coffee, Mrs. Dash seasoning, fiber laxative pills, stool softeners, Voltaren, Tums, generic products labeled Jerry Care or promoted by Joe Namath, more stool softeners, CVS prescription bottles with very small print. Because you can't find your glasses, I read you the dosing directions, when to take and with food or without. We're not elderly yet, but we're feeling dusk's creep, and one day it will expose us like a harvest moon. Sun will set earlier, and we don't stay out past dark. Summer seems shorter, but fall lingers like a dangling palm frond after a storm. Our silhouettes bounce along the pavement during afternoon walks, and I notice mine has love handles. Who knew shadows could have love handles? You love me anyway. Thank you. This poem is called "If I Could Text the Filet-O-Fish." I'd write this. We're both past 60 now, and yet you've managed to keep your same shape, round on the outside, square in between. I'm just getting rounder. Some might see you only as an Alaskan pollock slab plopped onto a bun steamed for exactly 11 seconds, the only McDonald's item served that way, but not me. You're the Saturday afternoon lunch of my childhood, sandwiched between creature feature and game of the week. Tartar sauce would ooze down my wrist, but why only a half slice of cheese? As we grew, you released mascots, maybe to promote your own self-esteem or public awareness that McDonald's served options to the Big Mac. Sure, the Big Mac grabbed the headlines and had that catchy jingle. You know, 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, and all that. But you had mascots. Yet I'll never know why anyone thought Captain Crook, whose goal in life was to steal you, was a good idea, or Phil A. O. Fish, who only lasted a year before vanishing, customers confused about a fish promoting consumption of its own species. Couldn't you have done better? I could have too, I guess. As I pull from the drive-thru, I think about the time we've spent together, but worry how little we have left. Thanks. This poem is actually one that I've kind of retired, but I decided to bring it out because the first time I read it was at the Performance Poets reading when they used to be in the bookstore in Lake Worth, which was a store that like I still think about to this day. It was wonderful, and it was always a wonderful event to gather in person too. But I figure I would pull it out for this special occasion, and it's a Passover poem, but even though we're approaching July, it's never too late for a good Passover story. It's called Matzah Brei, 4 Easy Steps. 1, to create this Passover favorite, first take matzah, break into small pieces, place into a bowl, cover with hot water for 1 minute, squeeze out water. Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights, we eat bread or matzah, while on this night, we eat only matzah. Too many nights we ate dinner with the TV on. I remember my father swearing the first time he saw Boy George on MTV. Ashkenazi Jews are Jews of European descent. Ashkenazi Jews think they are better than other Jews. 2, in a small bowl, beat 1 egg with salt and pepper to taste and add to the matzah. Mix well. Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights, we eat all kinds of vegetables and herbs, but on this night, we eat only bitter herbs. My sister always defended Boy George. She'd dress up like him, same style hats, braids, makeup, calling herself Girl Jill as she danced to the dinner table. Sephardic Jews are Jews of Middle Eastern and South American descent. Sephardic Jews think they are better than other Jews. 3, heat frying pan with a little oil. Pour mixture into the pan. Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights, we don't dip our vegetables in salt water, but on this night, we dip them twice. My mother picked dinner time to start fights with my father and sister. Meals often ended with no one speaking to each other. We called ourselves Jewish, but we never did any Jewish things except stay home from school on the Jewish holidays and eat matzah brei on Passover. We thought we were better than other Jews. 4, brown 1 side and turn over. Brown the other. Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights, we eat sitting upright, but on this night, we eat reclining. Boy George, the gender-bending lead singer of Culture Club, a moderately successful mid-'80s pop group, is not Jewish. My parents brought us up to think everyone was Jewish. I once thought this true until my mother's complaints about the stores closing Christmas and Easter because of the Goyim. She said the Goyim thought they were better than Jews. I grew up thinking we asked 4 questions on Passover, but it's really 1 question with 4 answers. Thanks. This poem's called So What If Ancestry.com Tells Me I'm Not Really Italian. Happy enough with the myth of me, I'll never spit into that tube. I don't need to know if my blood flows from Palermo's plazas or the cheesesteak juke joints of South Philly. I don't need to confirm stories my adopted mother and father mumbled from what little they knew. How the 2 of them, 100% Ashkenazi Jews, or so they believed, brought home a bastard boy born of 2 Sicilian teenagers fucking under a parking lot lamplight in the back seat of a borrowed Chevy off South Street. I've lived this long believing a young Italian girl gave me up due to shame, Catholicism's dogma, or just the dark mores of that era. But it doesn't matter how much of my life has been made up. My mythology doesn't need biology. Thank you. Under the Cherry Moon. I'm not sure yet if this poem is about Prince or this girl I once loved who loved Prince, who would whisper if only it would rain purple with each torrential summer downpour that kept us in the bedroom of her garage apartment, listening to Prince records on a Radio Shack turntable, until the skies cleared and the candy sunrise really did make the sky seem purple. I'm not sure yet if this poem is about Prince or this girl I once loved who loved Prince, who Facebook tells me turned 44 today, glitter girl of the aughts turned soccer mom of 2, singing Taylor Swift songs to her kids in the car so they think she's cool as she drives them from parties to practices, not in a little red Corvette, but in a gray Honda minivan. She returns to Prince after they slam the car door shut. I'm not sure yet if this poem is about Prince or this girl I once loved who loved Prince, but here in my Paisley crib, as side 2 of Controversy glides into the runoff grooves on that same Radio Shack turntable, I sit aging under what might be a cherry moon, waiting for the purple rain to fall. Thanks. Let's have a couple more. I guess I'll read for you. Yeah, this one is called Where Will We Hide When the Rain Stains Us? Storm clouds dangle like ghosts in a vapor trail, and buildings downtown fold into sky. No umbrella, we scatter for cover like reckless syllables colliding under thunder. I squint into the squall and see an ibis perched on a bus bench, chest out, defying shelter. We cut across Biscayne, up the stairs to the metro rail where the screech and roar of the train's arrival drowns out another gale. Water pelts us, stinging harder than the words we've spoken. The ibis takes flight, flaps its black-edged wings, soars over the Freedom Tower. This is a poem called Dragonfly. Oh, just a quick shameless plug here. If you're in the Lake Worth area on Wednesday night, July 1st, I'll be reading with Lenny Delarocca, who is here. And it's part of the new series that I think Susanna mentioned early on. It's they call it Poetry Night at the Bends. And Joanne Burko is the lady who kind of put everything together. So it starts at 6:30. There is in fact wine, which is always a good thing. So if you happen to be in the neighborhood, please stop by. Dragonfly. You tell me you smell the ocean on my shirt, that it smells like the steam of a squawking seagull's breath. You always tell me things like this. I believe you mean well, but the summer heat shatters my belief into broken seashells. In the distance we see, splayed on the shore in a circle, a marriage of empty beach chairs and sand. We step past lounges to the tiki bar and order around, hoping to find forgiveness for crimes committed against each other in plastic cups of Tito's on ice, floating limes acting as mediators. Bob Marley tells us every little thing will be all right, but the salt-crusted speakers distort his words. I ask the bartender to keep our tab open. A dragonfly settles on your sunburned shoulder, droning in for its landing like sunset. I know a dragonfly's surprise arrival symbolizes luck, yet I flick it off your shoulder with the disregard of a trunk crashing to depths deeper than a damp tiki bar floor. Okay, two more. This is Surf and Safari. It's another one I think I read back in the old days at the Lake Worth bookstore. Surf and Safari. I'm a professional surfer. I tell people when they ask what I do for a living, working in surf phrases Googled for authenticity, like foam and foam blank and foam board, tossing in gnarly and glassy and goofy foot for good measure, quoting the Beach Boys to those too young to know better, shutting down their 409s, whatever. Ride the wave's crest, dudes, and the lip could carry us anywhere, away from the world we were stranded, aliens parked behind pressboard desks, pushing pencils instead of performing the perfect pop-up punt on the Pacific snarling soup, punching in and out workday time clocks, set shaking in disgust as we stumble to the shore. Let's go surfing now. Everyone's learning how. Thanks, and thanks to everybody for coming and listening, and thanks again, Susanna and Judy, for everything. And I'll close out with this poem. The only things you need to know about the poem is that Ada Limon is a former poet laureate, recent poet laureate, and Denny's restaurants have their world headquarters in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's called In the Dream Where Ada Limon Reads My Poem. She recites it to me alone, though others hang around, poets and posers. Ada Limon's reading makes my poem seem better than it is, more serious, more sensual, words jumping off pages like porpoises at SeaWorld. I know the poem is crap, a wordle jumble with no volta, but Ada Limon's voice takes me to a wood cabin in a deep forest, fireplace flickering, each ash falling to cinder in iambic pentameter, each stanza transformed, sonnet to villanelle to ode, like solids changing to water or gas. I drink, old Forester, smoky is the room, dulled by candles and self-dimming bulbs, the ice cube a monument in the snow globe. When I ask her to read it a second time and she agrees, I'm transported to the Hub City bookstore in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Yet the poem is still a golden shovel with no gold. Student writers and artsy locals sit on the floor in a circle, huddled in this shop across the street from Denny's world headquarters, and Ada Limon performs my poem with a sincerity and a depth it really doesn't have. And each listener snaps their fingers in approval, and they ask Ada Limon in unison if she would rip the paper on which she holds my words and sign each piece for them. After the reading, Ada Limon and I discuss Berryman by a parking meter behind the bookstore, but neither of us has any change. Glow of the red neon Denny's sign haloing us, and the streets smelling of hash browns. So we hoof it over to JJ Rockers for a nightcap before I attempt to win Ada Limon over by reading her my poem, the one she's been reading all night in various incantations, now thinking it may actually be good. But as soon as I begin, she wipes the beer foam from her mouth, drops her mug to the bar, and grabs her faux fur coat, telling me she's leaving to read other men's poems, storms out the swinging saloon doors, and mounts a gold stallion with an ampersand imprinted on its saddle. Thank you.